Welcome, the Coach Miller Light Show. Continuing on today with, you know it, the teachings of Abraham, money, and the law of attraction. Today I continued on with the next passage. So they're talking about pivoting, directing my own life experience. And I'm loving that word, directing my own life experience. Directing it. Here it comes at me. I imagine myself in a video game where there's pieces coming at me, like back in the old Atari. They're coming at me, and now I'm the director. Okay, so I want this to go over here, this to go over here, directing my life experience. And how do I direct my life experience? Of course, it's direct my thinking, direct my perspective. So I'm super excited about this. What do you say we get started? Abraham says, perhaps the strongest resistance people have to beginning to tell a different story about their life is they believe they should always speak the truth about where they are, or that they should tell it like it is. But when you understand that the law of attraction is responding to you while you're telling the story of how it is, and therefore is perpetuating more of whatever story you're telling, you may decide it really is in your best interest to tell a different story. How well said. Law of attraction is responding to the story I'm telling and perpetuating more of it. So when I'm telling the story of the minus, law of attraction is responding, perpetuating more of it. If I'm telling the story of the positive, law of attraction is responding, perpetuating more of it. So understanding that seems to be the key. Understanding how the universe works, the basics of the universe, the basis of the universe, the law of attraction. Understanding law of attraction. Abraham goes on to say, a story that more closely matches that which you would like to live. You might be willing to tell a story that more closely matches that which you'd like to live. When you know about law of attraction, when you know how it goes. When you acknowledge what you do not want, and then ask yourself, what is it that I do want? You begin a gradual telling of your new story and into a much improved point of attraction. I really enjoy this because I like how it's gradual, because I got to do it gradual anyway. That's the way it works. I can gradually, step by step, like any journey. If I go out for a 10K, 6.2 miles, I do it gradually. It's step by step by step by step. The idea of directing my own life experience gradually, step by step, pivot by pivot, thought by thought. So if I recognize that I'm thinking of something I do not choose, and I recognize it due to the negative feeling I'm feeling, making it a feeling game, tuning into my inner guidance system, my emotional guidance system that is ever present, always with me, and easy to understand. It's plus and minus, and the varying degrees in between. How plus is it? That's how right on it is. How minus is it? That's how off it is. Isn't that great to know? That when I feel that strong negative emotion, it's because I'm that off. It's because it's that off. That's great news to me. All right, let's continue on with the passage. What do you say? Gradually doing this, pivot by pivot, piece by piece, I can gradually shift my way, shift myself to a new point of attraction. Law of attraction is responding to my point of attraction. It's always helpful to remember that you get the essence of what you think about, whether you want it or not, because of law of attraction is unerringly consistent. Always helpful to remember. You get the essence of what you think about, whether you like it or not, because law of attraction is unerringly consistent. This is the most consistent, most powerful law in the universe. This is the law to get in sync with, to understand, and to use to our advantage is what I'm getting out of this. So it really does matter. What's the story I'm telling? How does it feel? When I know law of attraction, I'll be willing to pivot. I'll be willing to tell that new story. Therefore, you never are not only telling the story of how it is now, you're also telling the story of the future experience that you're creating right now, okay? Not only, but I'm telling the story of my life. And what does that mean? My habitual words, my talking, what I'm saying to people, the thinking that I'm doing, telling the story. Or I could actually sit and deliberately write my story. That's a really, really, really good idea. Good day to do that. It's coming up here on September 14th. It's the new moon. A great time to plant seeds. Thoughts are seeds. Plant those seeds. Write it down. All right. You're not only telling the story of how it is, but also the future experience. I'm perpetuating it. It's going to be coming to me again. Why? We're creative beings. We're vibrational. Law of attraction's responding. something misunderstood. Some people misunderstand what the process of pivoting is, as they incorrectly assume that to pivot means to look at something unwanted and to try to convince themselves that it is wanted. They think we are asking them to look at something that they clearly believe is wrong and pronounce it right, or that it is a way of kidding themselves into accepting something unwanted. But you're never in a position where you can kid yourself into feeling better about something, because the way you feel is the way you feel. And the way you feel is always a result of the thought that you have chosen, okay? The way you feel is always the result of the thought you've chosen. And I can choose another thought, and that's the idea of pivoting. Okay, I've chosen a negative thought, that's why I feel negative. What is it that I do choose? Probably the opposite of what I'm thinking. Pivot it over. This is what I do choose, and ponder it. Get in the game and understand that as long as I pondered the minus, ponder the plus at least that long, and then add on some extra. The way you feel is the way you feel, and the way you feel is always the result of the thought you've chosen. It's a really wonderful thing that through the process of living life and noticing the things around you that you do not want, that you're able to come to conclusions about what you do choose. And when you care about how you feel, I put those words in a box here because that felt important. Gotta care about the way I feel. Get in the game. I care about what I eat. I care about how I look. But do I care about how I feel? Well, I'm deciding to care about how I feel. Care about how I feel. And I'm talking emotional feeling. That if I'm mad, I'm not caring about how I feel. I'm being right. I care more about being right and proving a point that is not for me. A point that is proving my non-well-being. So instead, care about how I feel and prove that I can pivot. Okay? Go ahead with that. All right, when I care about the way I feel, you can easily apply the process of pivoting. When you care about the way you feel, you can easily apply the process of pivoting to direct your attention toward the more wanted aspects and less of the unwanted aspects of your life experience. More towards the plus, less to the minus. And then as the law of attraction responds to your increasingly improved, better feeling thoughts, you'll notice your life experience transforming to match those more wanted aspects, while the unwanted aspects gradually fade out of your life experience. What great news! It's going to be gradual. It's a process, and I have to do the work. And the work is care about how I feel, recognize law of attraction is at work, understand it's a universal law, and it's unerringly consistent. What perspective am I holding? I'll know what thought I've chosen, what perspective I've chosen by the way I'm feeling. If I feel good, keep on rolling down that train. And if I do not feel good, recognize I don't feel good. Ask myself, I know what I don't choose, say it. I know what I don't choose, say it out loud. I know what I don't choose, what I'm thinking about right the freak now. So I feel this way. Okay, so since I know what I don't choose, that means I know what I do choose. What is it that I do choose? And then turn my attention. What I do choose? You want to know what I do choose? I do choose to be the freaking greatest pivoter of all time. Greatest pivoter, Coach a Miller Lite. Look at her pivot. She just goes through life pivoting. Here she goes, pivoting, life experience transforming more and more and more into those chosen things, those desired things. Things she does not choose, just sliding on out they go. Things she chooses, coming on in, more of them coming. Here they come. Here comes the thing she chooses. Why? Because she's pivoting. That's what I choose. So here we go. Let's practice. Gotta practice. How am I going to get great at it if I don't practice? Practice is the way I'm going to get great at pivoting. And the good news is I have every moment, every day to practice it. Come on. If I really get in the game, I could become a really great pivoter pretty quickly with the amount of time I have to practice. When you deliberately apply the process of pivoting, which means you're deliberately choosing your own thoughts, okay? Deliberately choosing my own thoughts. I deliberately choose my own food. I'm very strict on it, as a matter of fact. I won't eat that. Yet, am I deliberately choosing my own thought? Isn't that more important? That's what I'm coming to decide here, people. Thank you for joining me on the journey. Which means you're deliberately choosing your vibrational point of attraction. If I deliberately choose my own thoughts, I'm deliberately choosing my vibrational point of attraction. You're deliberately choosing how your life unfolds. Sounds pretty important to me, you know? I'm deliberately choosing how my life unfolds. Pivoting is the process of focusing your attention with the intent of directing your own life experience.